Good morning. Happy Sunday, ladies and gentlemen. Legends Club. I want to scream, but I got the boys up here. I don't know if you can see. You can't see. They're right behind my chair, but they wanted to be with Dad today, so they're up here hanging out. We'll see how that goes. Two Jack Russells times 2+ hours. I mean, you do the math. We'll see. How is everyone doing? Welcome to the stream. Happy Sunday. It's good to see all of you. Cutthroat Comics. Awake early. Yeah, I don't see you here now. Back to sleep. That's okay. Matt Rubin, good morning. One of two of my wonderful Royal Guards. I don't know why I called you guys Royal Guards. My moderators. Good to see Jacques. Spent a little bit of time with him and P90's stream this morning, so that was good to see you again, buddy. Batstan is here for a pretty cool hangout on Discord. If you're a channel member, you guys do get access to our private Discord to hang out and see what fun memes Will posts almost daily, which is pretty cool. This guy's hanging out, chilling backstage right now on the Millennium Falcon, just waiting to kick into EGM number 40. Our good buddy Zero. Hi, everybody. Good to see you, dude. Whatever you say, I'm not even going to butcher that. But good morning. Good to see you. Wake up. How you doing, mate? It's 57K J. I can hardly wait for 60K giveaway. Oh, my God. Really? I'm just kidding. Yeah, buddy. You're gonna get your stuff soon. It's like a couple of celebrations worth of stuff, so I hope you enjoy it. You'll let me know when it arrives finally. I still can't believe how this intro. Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that. I take pride in capturing all the gameplay myself. It's a lot of fun to do. Those intros are always fun to make. The one I did for Friday Night Versus with the toys, that was a lot of fun too. Dropped by before work to hit that like button, brother. Have a great show. Thanks. Same time. Appreciate that, dude. Good to see you. That Streets of Rage cover. Streets of Rage cover? What are you talking about? Is there Streets of Rage on the cover? I haven't even looked yet. Millennium Falcon equals the green room. Exactly. So why am I not in the Falcon? I should be in the friggin' Falcon. That would be so sweet. Well, Nintendo 64 Quest is on Amazon Prime. In Canada, you have to subscribe to the Super Channel, and you can watch it through there, which I know that doesn't do you any good, dude. But it'll be worldwide, hopefully this year sometime, man. We're trying to get it out there. Oh, I didn't even look at the cover. I just saw Star Wars and had it. Got super excited. I'm like, oh, Luke's on the cover, and I had to feverishly put that together. Axel and Blaze. Yeah, you know what? I was watching a streamer I really like named Ryu, and he plays a lot of he does a lot of playthroughs of older games, and he was playing Streets of Rage 2 for the first time, and he was actually loving it. It's, I know it's one of Jacques' favorite games. I know that for sure. But I haven't given that one a lot of time. I played the first one a lot. Those games are tough, man, because you do have limited continues, them being on a console. It's not like the arcade, We always talk about Final Fight, but Final Fight, you can just limitlessly continue. Jacques with the 17 friggin' months, buddy. Let's go. Look at this guy. That handsome devil. Hope you're doing good, my friend. I realize that's not you. I'm just saying. Miss our little chats, man. Back when it was you, me, and just Chantel. Remember that? In the streams? Dude, how long ago was that? Over 2 years ago now. I can't even remember what we were playing, but it was you and Chantel. It's so like, seemed like a lifetime ago, but it was so quiet, so intimate. It was a lot of fun. Do you remember what game we were playing, dude? Because I can't remember for the life of me. Thank you, though, for the support. 17 months, yeah. Max is my favorite character in Streets of Rage. He's pretty sweet, pretty sweet. We're going to get to Streets of Rage, as a lot of you guys are excited. We're on issue 40 of Electronic Gaming Monthly. These read-throughs are a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to go take a trip down memory lane with you guys and go through video game history. But I can't do this by myself, of course. We're going to bring in our special guest, the other half of the Royal Guards, my moderator, my good buddy. You know him as the Den of Geek.
Good morning, legends.
We need like wrestling intros, but
Yeah.
I don't need the copyright strike hassle, so.
Yeah.
You've made only 3 months, Raj. You'll get there, bud. You'll get there. I saw you and Jacques and P90 stream this morning. He was he doing Deathless Mega Man? Yeah, he was doing Deathless Mega Man 2 today, so that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Oh, there's Streets of Rage. Matt, you scared me. I thought I had the wrong issue. And I think I figured out my mic. I think I fixed the mic with this program, so I think we're good today. Messed around with it a bit.
Yeah, I kind of
is.
saw Star Wars as well and kind of forgot about lower right corner.
It kind of took over everything that's on the page.
And I still remember when it used to be us hanging out on Friday mornings watching episodes of The Tester.
Oh, jeez. The Tester. Yeah, was that 22 or was that 23?
I think that was 23.
Yeah. I started game streaming in 22, October 22. Yeah. We were watching The Tester. Those were that was fun. I remember Brandon was taking like everyone's notes we were having. Remember we had our own picks of who was going to win the seasons.
Yeah.
That was fun. That was good.
That was fun, yeah.
Explosion sound effect. It's on the list to do on my non-streaming days, Raj. Absolutely. Yeah. I'll get a good one. You don't want the Wilhelm scream? What about that instead? Can I talk you into the Wilhelm scream? That'd be pretty cool. 2 more months and I hit the 2-year mark. Zero. Much love to you, buddy. Thank you so much for that. Look at Max on the cover. You guys are excited about Streets of Rage 2. That's great. Was it, Matt? I see again. I said this yesterday when we were playing Grand Theft Auto with the community. I can't remember a time when all of you weren't here. So, yeah, Matt started coming around Tears of the Kingdom, I think. Yeah, it was like May 2023. Yeah. Wilhelm was an actor, and he did this particular scream. He had to do a couple of different takes. I forget which movie he was in, but it's this really iconic scream that George Lucas and Steven Spielberg often use in all their movies. And since then, a lot of filmmakers have adopted it. If you want to know specifically what it sounds like, the only example I can pull off the top of my head is when Luke and Leia are fighting on the bridge in A New Hope, and one of them shoots a stormtrooper and he falls down the shaft.
Yeah.
That's the Wilhelm scream. So you can probably just YouTube that, Raj. You'll as soon as you hear it, you're like, oh, okay, I know that. Yeah. Ric Flair's intro would be, dude, I would love it. I would come up to Triple H's every day. That Time to Play the Game by Motorhead. Oh.
Yeah, so iconic.
I would love it, but yeah. I know WWF in particular is very, like, you can't use any of their stuff. So I'm not even going to touch that with a 10-foot pole. We can sing it. When we get enough coffee. What's up, Jesse? How you doing, buddy? Good morning. Here we go. The cover, we're in November of 1992. One of my favorite years of being alive is 1992, and it's almost come to a close. So with the holiday season done in our current year of 2025, now we're kind of getting back to normal. We're getting back to EGMs. And I hope you all had a good holidays, but we're moving on. We're moving on. No more Christmas sweaters, even though I only have one. Page 1, we see Contraforce. Now, everyone in the chat who knows what Contraforce is, raise your hand. I can see you.
We all do.
See, I knew this would happen. Can you see these guys? Hang on. Let me. Can you see them? There's one right there. Can you see the one? There they are, right there. They're wanting to hang out with Dad this morning. Well, Dad's at work, so they're on the floor. So if I have to get up and do some dog sitting, Den's gonna have to tag in and take over. But there they are. That's Liam and Ghost sleeping, having a really great time. So, oh, that's Den. There we go. All right. Cute kitties. How dare you? How dare you? Those are Jack Russells, sir. Contra fan right here. Okay, so who knows Contra Force? So this was, again, released in 1992 for the NES, and Super Nintendo had been out for a year. One of those games that's really rare and expensive because I think people were just moving on. They were moving on to 16-bit pastures, and Contra Force kind of got looked over. I don't think it's really the greatest of the Contra games, but it's really cool to see this ad again for it. So, shout out to Contra Force. Oh, Faceball. What a game.
Proof that any and every type of game was made back then.
A pretty big achievement being on the Game Boy and Super Nintendo, like a first-person thing. But I mean, Sega was doing that in the 80s with Phantasy Star, so it is cool. But anyway, moving on. We got lots to cover in this issue. It's, oh my God, Dan, it's 277 pages. Holy cow. Okay.
These are no longer magazines. They are now novels.
Well, it's Christmas time too, right? It's November. So
yeah.
Really October because it's a month ahead. But we're moving on. Who remembers Software, etc.?
Oh, yeah.
I don't remember this one at all. I don't know. Did we have this in Canada? I guess we must have.
We did not.
Huh.
Software, etc. was, again, one of the companies that was purchased to form.
Oh yeah, GameStop. Right. It was one of the five. The unlucky five that got chosen. Good morning, Dan. How you doing? Raj. Yep. So they're from the same litter. They're Jack Russell Terriers. I went to get a new dog for myself. My mom at the time didn't have a dog at her place, so she wanted one as well. I said, careful, Mom. Jack Russells are not normal breeds. They are like 3 dogs in one. She wanted one anyway, so she got one and named it Ghost. And I got Liam. Liam is named after Liam Gallagher, who's one of my favorite rock singers of all time. And when my mom passed in 2021, I took Ghost, of course, and now the brothers get to hang out together every day. So there you go. Okay. Insert coin. We got an editorial by our good buddy Steve Harris. Let's kick it off. What you now hold in your hands is the largest video game magazine ever produced in America, weighing in at 320 pages. Sure, I knew 48 of them are... Oh, look at that. I know 48 of them are comprised of Electronics Boutique's new catalog, but they're cool too. It's slanted. It's so weird. Hang on.
Yeah.
This mega gaming monstrosity is packed to the rim with all of the explosive color, hot news, and secret info only EGM can deliver. I know I speak to the rest of the EGM staff when I tell you that we've had an absolutely awesome time working to deliver the best video game mag around. As the size and scope of the magazine, not to mention the industry that it serves, change, you can count on us to be there for the first look of whatever the latest games, tips, and technology may be out there. Although the video game industry has been able to mature at a zippy rate, all of the expansion has caused a nasty topic to rear its ugly head for the first time. The illegal copying of games is a problem that has been relegated to computer software in the past, but now threatens to take hold of the video game scene. Dun, 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 dun. All right, Dan, you're up.
All right. using special devices that enable gaming pirates to download programming code. A few small bands of unscrupulous gamers have started duplicating favorite games for mass consumption within their clicks. Although the extent of the disease is small, largely because of the high cost and unavailability of the illegal hardware needed to copy, it does exist and is against the law. Electronic Gaming Monthly recognizes the hard work and large investments that video game developers and manufacturers continue to make to bring us the hottest new games that cut the leading edge of technology. By illegally copying any video game, potential pirates hurt the hobby by decreasing overall sales.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even if the game is an older title, the integrity of the product remains the same and should not, under any circumstances, be violated. I can agree with that to some extent. I mean, there are some games that just aren't in print anymore, and we could go into the whole archiving thing later.
Right.
Recently, Electronic Gaming Monthly has instituted a company policy that mandates an end to illegal video game duplication. We're working with a number of major video game licensees to isolate the perpetrators of illegal game copying in an effort to bring about an end to this new form of crime. If you're aware of any such activities, or if you know the names of companies offering illegal video game duplication equipment, please contact me personally at Sendai Publishing Group, blah, blah, blah. Getting
back to the magazine, I hope you get this issue of EGM as much as we did. Making it the holiday season is shaping up to be a blast, and I'm glad you've tuned to the biggest and best video game magazine for all your gaming needs. And don't forget to hold on to the special collector's issue. After all, it's the biggest mag the States has ever seen. Until next month, Steve Harris. Cheers. Leonard Skinner, yeah, I agree with Jesse. I think they're great.
Yeah.
I don't care about political stances. I know they've been in hot water. I don't care about any of that stuff. I'm talking about music.
Yeah.
I dig. And Raj, you ever heard the joke Freebird? You know, when you go to see a local band and everyone always calls out Freebird, and musicians get annoyed by that because the song is incredibly long but incredibly complex, especially on guitar. Anyway, moving on. Interface letter to the editor. Oh, wow. Look at the size of these letters. Oh, my God.
Boy.
So we got a couple guys. We got bogus Street Fighter 2 arcade games. There was lots of, I don't want to call them fake boards, but they were like ROM hack boards back in the day. I remember there was one called in our arcades called Street Fighter 2 Rainbow, where like you could jump like the entirety of the screen, kind of like you can in Marvel vs. Capcom, but you could jump up just to the top of the screen. Just weird stuff like that. I never was into that. Probably why to this day I'm not into mods. And there's nothing wrong with mods. It's just I like to play the way the game developer intended. That's just me. And it might have stemmed back from some of this Street Fighter Rainbow stuff, you know. Because I just, you know, I mean, I remember walking by the cabinets and seeing it, and it just looked wrong. Like you knew that Capcom didn't make this. You could tell that it was, you know, fans of the game or whatever trying to add on to Champion Edition, but it was never my thing.
Yeah.
Sega C, what else do we got here? So we got 277 pages. So we're going to be very particular with what we read, guys. Does anybody in the chat want to read about a Sega CD update or the bogus Street Fighter 2 arcade games? You can let us know in the chat. I'm going to just scout ahead here. Wonder Mega Blues. JVC's Wonder Mega will be coming out the US next year. Super Nintendo CD-ROM, we're definitely reading that. More Mortal Kombat, we're going to read that. Okay. It's not too much. What's up, Packers? Good luck to your Packers today, Packers.
Yeah.
Drunk by 2, that's the rule. It's about quality of life mods, the ones that simply fix flaws, bugs, and errors. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like there's Skyrim mods that add lightsabers, and then there's quality of life mods. Wake up, yeah. Like I think Dark Souls in the last few months have had like some great quality of life mods. Just for me personally, I don't dabble in that stuff. That's all. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It would be like all the glitches and flaws that are in like something like Mega Man 2, like how overpowered Metal Man's weapon is. I wouldn't play like a fan hack that fixes that because that's not the pure game. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. That's just one. I'm just kind of trying to illustrate why I don't really get into that kind of thing. Okay, well, we're going to skip these two. And let's go into the Wonder Mega Blues. Who remembers the Wonder Mega? The JVC system. Now with the Sega, this is from Michael Robbies of the Bronx in New York over here. Now with the Sega CD only a month away, I'm getting very excited about this spectacular peripheral. While 300 is a bit on the high side, the free discs do make it a good value for the money. That was until I saw your last issue, and off in the corner of one of your EGM Express pages is a picture of something called a Wonder Mega. Just exactly what is this? Just exactly what is this? Okay. Should I consider buying this new product, or will it even come to the US? You must have missed our May issue, Michael. We broke the news to the nation about the nifty product. In essence, the Wonder Mega is a Genesis and a Sega CD wrapped in one. As far as the graphics and video are concerned, other than a built-in Super VHS video output, there isn't any difference. I forgot about Super VHS. Who remembers that?
I do. I have graphics cards that still have them.
Really? Super VHS? Oh my God. Dude, I haven't thought about that forever.
Yeah. And that price tag today would equal $674.61.
Oh gosh. Holy gosh. Holy gosh.
Yeah.
Where are we? We are Super VHS video output. There isn't any difference. If you are really into the audio, however, then you will want to at least take a look at this system. JVC has added a few cool features that will turn your crank. Jeez. A special bass enhancer packers, which adds punch to the lower frequencies, and a digital audio processor, which expands the dynamic range of the music, are the two most important additions. That makes sense because it's a CD-ROM system. I would expect that.
Yeah.
Believe me, if you run your games through a stereo setup, not just a TV, you will definitely want the Wonder Mega. Other features include a mic input, a karaoke echo, and an MIDI? Yes.
MIDI, yeah.
MIDI musical instrument digital interface port. If you thought that the Sega CD was expensive, Michael, you better sit down for this one. The Wonder Mega lists at over $620 in Japan. There you go. There you go. Oh, since the introduction, however, the price has decreased to about $400. So, haha. There are two versions of the system in Japan. One is released by Sega, and the other sports the JVC label. Other than decals and pack-in software, the systems are the same. Here in the US, Sega hasn't indicated whether they will bring out this version of the Wonder Mega. JVC, on the other hand, is currently thinking of bringing their system out later this year. Has a hand crank. Yeah, it takes gas too.
Yeah. Yeah, that price, I just did the math on it. That's like close to $1,400 today.
Oh, that's like 3DO prices. Would you care to read PlayStation is Dead?
Oh, absolutely. I am this is by Cedar Mulligan in Port Alexander, Arkansas. I won't do the bad Southern accent, guys.
No, that's not.
I'm an avid Super NES and Sony fan, and the PlayStation looked to be a dream come true. That was quite a while ago, and other than bits and pieces of new info, there hasn't been anything about Sony's Dream Machine. Have they soothed their problems with Nintendo? Will the Super NES CD-ROM and the PlayStation still be compatible? We haven't heard anything new about the PlayStation for a few months. It's important to note that Sony has signed up with Sega to be a CD-ROM software licensee. This being the case, the best guess is that they were never able to reach an agreement with Nintendo and probably decided to hold off on bringing out their own system, since they didn't have the software support.
Interesting.
I mean, even back in '92, we were talking about this. And PlayStation was smart enough not to jump into the game without having the software for their system.
Neil, good to see you. Everything had a super in front of it in the 90s. Exactly.
Oh, yeah. Either that or Extreme.
Packer says, now I know where Randy's mom learned her turn your crank gaming skill and other stuff. Oh, my. Rated M for mature. Be gentle on your cranking hand, Matt says. You guys, it's Sunday morning, for God's sake. And now Zero's chiming in. Got to give that crank the Hawt tour. Jeez. Super NES CD-ROM 32-bit and $200. This is from Jose Galvez from North Hollywood, California. You guys have already printed the specs and names of some of the games for the Sega CD. You even told about the pack-in discs and release schedule, but you haven't talked about a lot is the Super Nintendo CD-ROM. Can you give us an update? Will it come out in January of 1993? That's very specific, Jose. Is Nintendo still planning to sell it for $200? You can read Steve's. I'll continue here with Frank along the same topic. How do you say that last name? Frank
Ciparone.
Ciparone from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, I think.
Down in Matt's area.
Please check out the story that Nintendo is changing. Please check out the story that Nintendo is changing their Super NES CD-ROM plans. I got a letter from them on September 14th, and they said that the new peripheral is to be a 32-bit and still cost only $200. Why would Frank get a letter from Nintendo disclosing anything about the Super Nintendo? I call a little bit of BS here, Frank. I'm just saying over here.
Yeah.
They even go in to talk about the new 3D graphics chip that they're working on. If this is true, the machine should leave Sega's overpriced 16-bit CD-ROM in the dust. Frank, what gives you the special intel?
I think Frank knows a guy who knows a guy.
Frank is sus. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, what are you doing, Frank?
Yeah.
He knows a guy. It's like, you know the kid back there. Oh, my dad works at Microsoft or whatever. My dad works at Nintendo. That's what Frank sounds like. Yeah. Don't listen to Frank. He's an Eagles fan. All right. Den's going to read the response to the Super Nintendo CD-ROM.
We heard about the newest version of the Super NES CD-ROM, and we were at the Nintendo when we were at the Nintendo show in Japan back in August. Unfortunately, this news came just days after we went to print with the October issue. For a complete description of their new peripheral, check out this month's EGM Express column. As to whether their new system will sell for $200, highly unlikely. Few people believe that Nintendo could sell a dependable and durable 16-bit CD-ROM for $200, yet alone a 32-bit machine. Rumor was that Nintendo had major problems in getting their old CD-ROM to interface properly with the Philips CDI. In addition, development systems never went out to the software licensees, and time was running out for a January 1993 launch. One thing to remember is that CD technology is big business. Being first is very important. Sega showed their system first, and Nintendo had to go one up. They did this with a press release about their CD-ROM system being only $200.
Hmm.
Now, that was the beginning of the console wars. Always got to do better than the other guy. Now, Sega is first with their CD-ROM in the stores, and Nintendo needs something bigger and better to talk about, like a $200 32-bit system. Come on, Nintendo, you can do better than that. If you're marketing vaporware, why not just make it a 64-bit CD system?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Now, I don't remember back in the day. Oh my God, what is this Triton thing? What is that thing? Anyway, I don't remember back then, guys. I don't know if you do. I don't remember like them talking about the future that far ahead. Like, I don't remember them talking about 64-bit, 32-bit, sure. But they're talking like years down the line. It's so crazy, right? Like, everyone was so excited about new graphics. Like, I know people love graphics today, but back then it was just like, oh man, we got to get the latest and greatest graphics. I don't know. Kind of funny.
Yeah. I remember everybody was talking about graphics. Nowadays, it's funny because we don't talk about graphics, we talk about gameplay.
Who has this Triton Game Master pile of lunch here? Who had that thing? For all your Street Fighter needs? Look at the buttons are smaller than they get bigger.
Yeah.
Strange. I've never seen this thing either. It's totally programmable.
Something to look for at the game hunts.
Yeah. I can't find any of that stuff, man. We need more Mortal Kombat. How do you say that name? Gimme? Giammi Bartlett from North Miami, Florida over here. That's enough Street Fighter 2 coverage. You now have to cover Midway's hot new fighting game, Mortal Kombat. Do just what you did with the Street Fighter game and cover all the moves. Also, make it a point to show the fatalities. Frig, sorry. Oh my God. We'll go one more. Dave Hanna from Hanover Park, Illinois says, I have been going to the local arcade for the past month, and all I have been playing is a game called Mortal Kombat. At least when I can get to it. The line is so long I can only get a couple of games in each night. By the way, the Street Fighter 2 Championship Edition game isn't even being played now that Mortal Kombat is in. My problem is that I'm getting my tail kicked because I don't know how to do the special moves. How about telling me a few of these moves so I can last longer than 2 minutes?
Damn.
All right, you're up.
And the war has begun between Street Fighter and MK.
Yeah, you can see again. I mean, fans will be fans, right? But the divide already. So quick to get rid of Street Fighter and pick up the new shiny toy, which is Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat is good, but I'm sorry, it's no Street Fighter. But we're not going to get into that again.
Yeah.
Or maybe we will, whatever.
Okay. Thanks for the story on Mortal Kombat. And this is from Kin Han Hong. Wow.
Fremont, California.
Thanks for the story on Mortal Kombat. I've been playing it for 3 months now, and I've gotten so good that I can beat the game with Scorpion. Cheap shot. Do you know when they are coming out with a Mortal Kombat 2? P.S. Here are some of the special moves. Hope you like them. Scorpion's Death Wish. Hold block button down and press up, and get 3 feet away. Raiden's Death Wish. Forward, back. High punch. Sonya's Death Wish. Forward, back, block.
You mean fatality?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, though. I just want to touch on, again, I applaud everyone's enthusiasm. You know, we're talking about in 2025, where's Grand Theft Auto 6? Where is the new Nintendo hardware? And I'm just at that age now where I'm like, I want these things too, guys, but they're going to come out when they come out. Back then, I would have been right with Kim Han here and been saying, like, oh my God, like, where's Mortal Kombat 2? So I get it.
Yeah.
But it's funny to go back and look at it. It's like, Mortal Kombat is just come out, and you already want the second one. Like, it's funny, right?
Yeah, and he said, he's been playing it for 3 months. Well, dude, boy, are you going to be disappointed in that release schedule.
Yeah. Jacques says, Mortal Kombat and Tekken are my favorite. Death Wish, you mean fatalities? Yeah, that's what it means, yeah. It says fatality at the screen. I don't understand how you get that wrong. But anyway.
Yeah. And we have already received over 100 letters on this hot new arcade fighter. Watch future issues of EGM for more info, pics, and all the special moves. The way it looks from our end, Street Fighter II Championship Edition seems to be dropping in popularity rapidly. It's taking some time for MK machines to get out across the country, but as soon as the players see MK, they're hooked. With Street Fighter 3 eons away, it looks like MK is the new king.
And it makes sense that they would drop the majority probably in California and New York, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Right, that makes the most sense.
You're going to go with the larger population bases.
Yeah.
And does anybody remember these trading cards? The Zap Packs?
No, I don't.
I think I had one pack that I found at a flea market.
Yeah, they look pretty cool for sure.
Yeah.
Do you remember the cards where it was like Mario Brothers and like Zelda and Donkey Kong, and you like scratched like a lottery ticket?
Yeah, I still have some of those.
Yeah, those are cool. You know what I found the other day? In one of my bins in the basement, I found a stack like this of NES manuals that are mint from when I was a kid. I don't know why they're down there, but I found them. But they're kept in a empty wax box of those scratch-off Nintendo cards that I must have asked the variety store guy for when the thing was empty.
That's
I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I found that. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Packer says in 2026, we'll all be saying, remember that company called Ubisoft?
You never know.
They haven't done it for me for a long time.
Well, apparently the new Assassin's Creed game got pushed back again.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, again, if you don't like it, don't play it, right? Don't support it. Yeah. So we got Editor's Choice Platinum for a little indie film turned into a video game called Star Wars. It's on the Super Nintendo, so of course it's Super Star Wars. I'll let you choose which reviewer you would like to be.
I usually go hipster with Sushi X.
Steve, a self-proclaimed retro rocker, Steve prefers the 60s and 70s era. While he won't pass up on the latest Clapton, the Stones, Zeppelin, and Floyd remains his favorite. He won't pass up on the latest Clapton, which is hilarious. They're referring to Eric Clapton Unplugged, which was, to my knowledge, the very first MTV Unplugged that there ever was. However, Clapton was in a band called Cream, which was even before Zeppelin. So, actually, thank you. Sorry. Anyway. All right, what's Sushi been doing?
Sushi. Let's just take... Okay, Sushi. While he was weaned on Oriental jams, good old Sushi has acquired a taste for Frank Sinatra and vid game rocker Yuzo Koshiro. Street Fighter II soundtracks are number one.
Aye, indeed.
Aye. The things we got away with in the 90s, right?
I love the formats of the reviews. It's a lot clearer. I don't know if this is just this one. Yeah, it's just this one because it's probably, I'm assuming, the game of the month. But so Steve gives Super Star Wars a 9. Anyone who remembers this game knows that all three of these games and the Indiana Jones one that shares the same engine are incredibly difficult, but pretty cool if you're into shooters where you can't stop. right? You always have to run. If you stop,
Yeah.
you're kind of dead. Although this game has a few problems with its control and execution, the package is presented in a near flawless manner. The graphics are absolutely incredible and complemented with strong play, action, and good technique. The game is simplistic in design, but the quality of the design is second to none. A wiener. Cheers.
All right. Super Star Wars is destined to become a Super NES classic over the next year, with the graphics, intense backdrops, interstellar sounds, and a proven storyline. What else could you expect? This grandfather of epics is making the video game transformation exceptionally well. Do we thank the Force?
Thank you, Force, for that. Blazion, whatever this is, it's by our good pals at Atlas. Steve gives it a 7. This is it looks like a shooter for the Super Nintendo. While the real focus of this game is the unique capture and power up technique, the game flies higher on its graphics than its play. It's a solid, if somewhat sparse battle, and selection of weaponry is interesting, but the overall graphic representation of the background and foreground characters is where this Hot Soft shines.
Sorry, it's time to wake up just commented that made me laugh. Remember when Darth Vader turned into a scorpion inside the Jawa crawler? Movie accurate.
I do. Luke, I'm a scorpion. Yeah, I mean, Wake Up, it's weird, right? Because you would think the Lord of the Sith himself would have enough characteristics for, it was a JVC, to make enough moves. I mean, they certainly did that with Empire. Yeah. But with Super Star Wars, for some reason, it's like, let's turn him into a scorpion.
Maybe they took something before the design meeting.
Nah, maybe. Maybe.
Hooray. And for Sushi, hooray! Another shooter to keep the dust off my game shelf. Too little, too late is often becoming the byline of most shooters this year. However, and Blazon is no exception. It's passable in most departments, but it still isn't enough to really blow your socks off. Okay, we've got some serious editing issues, folks.
Yeah.
You need strength and charisma, not just good looks. 7. That sounds more like maybe a 5.
Yeah, I mean, this genre, I mean, now we think of shooters, and what comes to mind is like first-person shooters, but back then the terminology referred to these top-down, or in this case, side-to-side space shooter style game. They lost their luster for me real quick. I didn't really care for them in the 2600 era and NES and up. There's a few I really enjoy, like Blazing Lasers, but apart from that, it's just not my style.
Yeah.
Right. So it seems like everyone's kind of starting to get sick of them in 1992. Jay, did you ever play that Super Star Wars game? I did. It's okay. I like the Return of the Jedi one, and I like the Indiana Jones one.
Yeah.
None of them are bad. But the Super Star Wars one, you could definitely tell it was the first one.
Yeah.
But
that thing was pretty hard, if I remember correctly.
I wonder why they called the game Super Star Wars, Super Street Fighter, etc. Because it was called the Super Nintendo. Well, not for Super Street Fighter. No. But most of the games like Super Ghouls and Ghosts, yes, it was a way to
differentiate from the NES.
Differentiate version. from Turbo and Genesis for sure. They did the same thing with 64, right? They would plop 64 on the end. Like Mega Man 64 is nothing more than Mega Man Legends from the PS1 a few years later. It's just got 64 on the end. It's a way to separate it. Wordtris?
And Packers. Nice comment, Packers.
That's my favorite Star Wars scene ever. Or when the Emperor joined the Klingons to defeat a space whale on the extended cut of Empire. No, I like Empire. That's better.
Empire, yeah.
Zero says Blazing Lasers is the GOAT. 100% agree.
Yeah.
It's my favorite one. Maybe that because that one is so good. The others are kind of just like meh. I know everyone like went crazy for R-Type and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I was never really into like Life Force and R-Type. I don't know. They were good, but Wordtris. I can't think of a more hellish experience for me than to like you take a beloved game like Tetris, you destroy it by making Hatris. How can we ruin it further? Wordtris? Boy, that sounds fun. Said nobody ever. But this is by Holobyte, Spectrum Holobyte for the Super Nintendo. Steve gives it a 5. Although I love Tetris, I haven't found any of the follow-up titles to have anywhere near the same level of appeal. This game isn't much different, complicating the addictive qualities of Tetris with unnecessary demands on how items are placed. On its own, Wordtris would be average compared to Tetris. It falls way short.
Yeah. Okay. 7. I think Sushi might be greatly giving a benefit here.
Well, he's the hipster. He's got to go against.
Well, Wordtris really puts your mind to work. It quickly becomes clear that this is a lot of power for a Game Boy type game. Still, for those of us who like to challenge our minds as well as our reflexes, Wordtris will be waiting. One problem. It may be a pretty smart game, but it doesn't recognize all the words it should.
I'm with you, Zero. I can do the top-down view better. The side ones like Life Force and R-Type, I don't know. Silver Surfer has both, but I don't wish that hell right on anybody.
Yeah. My favorite was, I'm going to go OG here, and that was 1942.
Very good. 1942 is a good game. Good game.
Yeah, my all-time favorites.
Amazing Tennis by Absolute for the Super Nintendo. 6 from Steve. I'm not a big fan of video tennis, but this game is appealing, especially in the head-to-head mode, which most sports games excel. Blah. As a solo match, however, Amazing Tennis is still an attractive game that features decent graphics and good sound support. If tennis is your game, there isn't much here that should offend you. What? The hell does that mean, Steve? What are you talking? Whatever.
Yeah, Matt, I agree about the Macross one as well. Side scroll would let you switch between jet and all that. Yeah. Okay. Amazing number for Sushi. We've got Amazing Tennis is not exactly my favorite game to hack at. With the hard to learn play control, most will toss the game through the window in frustration long before they learn even the basics.
Right through the window.
True, after weeks of practice, you may begin to win a couple of games, but only the patient will triumph. 5.
Raj, is it any good? Return of the Jedi is good, only I would say because it's my favorite Star Wars movie. That's probably why I like it the most. Super Star Wars stands out from the other two. Empire and Jedi are similar in the way they play. They're a bit more refined. Super Star Wars is a little rough around the edges, but...
Yeah. But I will say this much, Raj, they are tough games.
Yeah, they're tough, yeah. Spin Dizzy Worlds by ASCIIware. Oh, boy. I have no idea.
I remember hearing about this game one time. I think I saw it on a rental shelf, and I never touched the thing.
Okay, Steve gives it a 7. I like the approach of this game. Well, let me just read this for those of you, including myself, who don't know what this is. A truly unique approach to the usual brand of action game. Spin Dizzy Worlds offers a combination of straight action play with an innovative control and environment filled with obstacles to overcome. Okay. Steve gives it a 7. Mm-hmm. I like the approach of this game a lot. even if it does get a bit frustrating at times. The unique nature of the action combined with decent graphics and some fun technique made up for any of the soft's minor shortcomings. For a change of pace that employs a leisurely challenge, Spin Dizzy, maybe for you. No one gives a lips.
Okay. While the graphics and sound hint of Marble Madness, Spin Dizzy Worlds is much, much more. This game requires you to utilize your problem-solving skills in order to finish a round. The object isn't just to plow past obstacles, but to think your way around them. Spin Dizzy Worlds is a great puzzle race. Excuse me. Is a great puzzle race against time game. Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, there we go.
Now we know everything there is to know about Spin Dizzy Worlds.
Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. Yeah, I remember getting this after Final Fantasy II and being completely disappointed, not understanding that it was maybe an RPG for people just starting out.
Yeah,
I thought it was going to be another Final Fantasy II along those lines, but no, you can only have 2 members in the party. I can't stand this game. I did finish it. I think I got it for Christmas, right? But just playing it, I'm like, what the heck happened? Where's all the cool characters? Where's Kane? Where's 4 or 5 people in my party? What is going on?
I know that our friend the John of War loves this game.
This guy here wants it. Like why? I don't even know why.
Yeah.
We can make fun of him for wanting this game. Listen to me. The day you find this game, I'll walk home wherever we're at. I'm just saying. Nah, I'm just kidding. I was just completely disappointed that I was expecting a full-fledged Final Fantasy, and obviously I didn't read much about it, so I just asked for it because it was Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
And not so excited. Not so excited. So this gets a 7 though. It's getting some pretty decent above average scores. Steve says this RPG is actually quite fun to play and runs at a consistently fast pace. It never dwells heavily on any one aspect of the adventure and features just enough depth in the story and action to make for an enjoyable time. While the game is geared towards the younger set, its ease is the only fault I could find.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And again, when I played this, I didn't realize an intro type RPG.
Same. Yeah, I'm not going to fault the game for that because I didn't know, right? 100%. Yeah. It just wasn't for me.
Yeah. Final Fantasy MQ is a great amateur's adventure title with tons of quests to solve. FFMQ isn't very hard, but it's solid, so it should be popular with that crowd. Let's face it, FFMQ is a HQ RPG. Not quite suited for VIPs, but since it will go MIA BDQ at your local EBKBX, you had better RSVP yours ASAP.
Oh, sushi. Lots of laughs.
Now
what are you guys talking about? Pit Fighter? Who's talking about Pit Fighter?
Now we know who came up with the cell phone chat when just typing you and everything. It was Sushi.
It was Sushi X, yeah. Pit Fighter and Rise of the Robots. I would rather watch Dexter New Blood 2 feet away from the TV than friggin' play Pit Fighter. That's all I'm saying right now. That game, I don't know which one's worse. Rise of the Robots or Pit Fighter. I would throw in there Kasumi Ninja for Jaguar, and I would throw in there Way of the Warrior by the Mighty Naughty Dog for the 3DO. Yikes.
Okay, I would also add Eternal Champions.
I don't think that one's that bad.
Okay, what about Primal Rage?
It's all right. It's not on the same level. I mean, it's all right. But like Kasumi Ninja, I think is the worst. It has the controls are just. Yeah. That's the one with the The dude who has the kilt, he lifts it up. He lifts his kilt up, and a fireball comes out of God
Oh
knows
yeah,
where.
yeah. I remember that.
Yeah,
You know, if he went to a free clinic, he could fix that.
probably. Yeah, Eternal Champions was Sega, so it wasn't bad. Everyone had to have a Violence Fight is great, dude. That's a fun game. Not many people know about Violence Fight. Big Blue, it's a good game. Look at this little indie title. I wonder if this will become something in the future. This one is called Super Mario Kart. What do you mean Mario's driving? Mario's driving a car now? What the hell's going on with that?
Yeah.
Super Star Wars beat this one and got a platinum. Super Mario Kart only gets a gold. That's crazy to think of that in 2025. It just is.
Yeah.
Raj, yes, I've played. I think I streamed Return of the Jedi on Twitch, and I played Indiana Jones before. The problem is filling a 4+ hour time slot with those games. Those are the kind of games that you really need to practice. I'm not saying I wouldn't do it. Yeah, but anyway.
Yeah.
So Super Mario Kart gets a 9 from the mighty Steve. This is the best driving game to come along for some time. Mario Kart, by the way, it's not called... Is it called Super Mario Kart? I don't think it is. Is it?
Yeah.
It is called Super Mario Kart. Okay.
Yeah.
This is the best driving game to come out in some time. Mario Kart may look like an F-Zero clone on the surface, but there are many interesting upgrades ranging from power-ups to special combat modes using a split-screen layout, which was huge at the time, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Replaying options and plenty of tracks add to the appeal of this super game. Let's go.
Yeah. I will also state that this game can ruin friendships and cause siblings to fight more than normal.
Dude, that what was the introduction of the blue shell? Was that 64? It must have been. No. Blue shell was Double Dash? Any Mario Kart experts in the chat? What was the first appearance of the blue shell? It must have been 64. Cuz that was the item that I don't know if it takes out everybody, but it certainly takes out the guy in first place. I remember you could be doing really well, and then the guy in last place always gets rewarded with the blue shell. And you would always screw the guy over, right? So he's almost about to cross the finish line, and at the very minimum, you would knock him down to second or third place.
Yeah.
Infuriating. Blue shell is 64. Thanks, Willie.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember playing this game with my friends, and man, we got into arguments over that.
Oh, dude. If you hated your friends, you'd play Mario Kart against them.
Oh, yeah.
I'm telling you right now, you would. Okay, you're up.
Okay, jamming Super Mario Kart really blasts past the fun barrier, bringing all of my favorite Nintendo characters back in one spectacular racing game with plenty of power-ups, racetracks, and obstacles. This is one of those games that is very hard to put down, especially with the windscreen action and replays, or with the twin screen action and replays. 8. Yeah. That split screen action back in the day, that was huge.
Willie says, let's get that on the big screen. Diddy Kong Racing is greater than Mario Kart 64. I'll die on that hill. Willie Lowe reminds me of like King Leonidas.
Yeah.
If there was any like King Leonidas costume contest, Will would win for sure. I would agree. I think Diddy Kong is better. Not than Mario Kart 8, but Mario Kart 8 also encompasses most of the tracks from I think all the games. That's not a detriment to it. I'm just saying that it's like a greatest hits compilation. But Diddy Kong Racing was great. The adventure mode was fun. There was tons of secrets. First appearance of Banjo. First appearance of old Conkus. Good stuff. Felix the Cat.
Ooh.
Felix the Cat for the NES by Hudson Soft. really great in 92 to see an NES game being reviewed, and that it's getting some pretty decent scores too. So cheers to Hudson. Big
Yeah,
fan of Hudson, the
they
soul
created.
heart of the
Yeah,
TurboGrafx.
and they had some pretty tough games too.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, Matt adds Monopoly to the mix. Mario Kart and Monopoly. Later Mario Party games were added to the list of friend enders. Okay, well where do you guys stand on GoldenEye? We tried to keep it cool with GoldenEye,
Yeah,
but there was some times there was a few instances I remember where the terminology screen looker was yelled at your friends. Oh,
hmm,
you saw me coming around the corner, screen looker. Like that was if you called someone a screen looker, you were really mad.
yeah.
And we also
That
had that
carried over.
rule. Also had that rule where if you didn't have a gun, we would have an honor system where you would drop to your knees. You could still walk. You could crawl on your knees in GoldenEye. It was R and the down yellow button. And you would be on your knees. If you were on your knees, that meant you didn't have a weapon and we wouldn't shoot you. That was fair. But we still had a cheater in our group, and I won't name names. But we had a cheater who would have a gun but still be on his knees. And then when you passed him, he would turn around and shoot you in the back, that cheater. I should out him, but I won't. Okay, sorry, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, that it carried over to Perfect Dark, Halo. You call somebody a screen looker, that was serious.
Well, you may or may not be right, Willie. You may or may not be right. I think we all did it one time or another because it was just so fun. It's too sweet to pass up on that free kill. The old back of the head shot with the clob. Oh, it's so good. Anyway, Felix the Cat gets a 7 from Steve. A variety afforded by the magical bag of tricks gives this game some character. What we are left with, though, is predominant amount of play is a standard side scroller with some nice graphics and technique. The action never gets too heavy, and the comical overtones, while missing the mark occasionally, are fun. I butchered that one. Either way, it gets a 7.
Okay. Surprisingly, the 8-bit King still has a little life left in it, thanks to games like Felix the Cat. The graphics and sounds are cute, but I want to see this in 16-bit. If the programmers can translate this theme and story into a 16-bit world, it's sure to be a hit. As it stands on 8-bit, however, Felix is still a bag of fun.
These guys in the chat. Screen lookers was used in Madden 2. You intercepted my ball because you saw what player was running, you son of a lunch.
Yeah.
Packer says screen looker. That was a felony charge in some states back in the 90s. Let's bring back screen looker. I love that terminology, man. I can't say for certain if we coined it. Probably not, because it's fairly obvious if you're looking at someone's screen. Let's bring it back, guys. 2025, screen looking.
Yeah.
Okay. Tyrants for the Genesis by Virgin. Gets a 7 from Steve. This game is a combination of several proven concepts that works well for me. Although the game never reaches a burning crescendo, the steady pace of the game, coupled with its good graphics and sound support, make it worth investigating. Jesus. The plot is invoking and delivers on its promises, involving Strike 2, Bartlett. I don't know what Tyrants is, but by the look of this screen, I'm good.
Not something you're going to rush out to find.
I don't think so. Probably not.
Games like Tyrants are generally best left to computer gamers with the patience for such slow, repetitive gameplay. By adding more action to these titles, it could be entertaining. While the concept is fine, as well as the detailed graphics, the game itself moves too slowly and with not enough surprises for high interest. 5.
Oh, yeah, Matt, you're talking about, stream sniping. Yeah, you could say that's screen looking. Yeah. Or if we're playing like Grand Theft Auto or something, it's like, quit dilly-dallying, screen looker, get in the car.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like a nasty insult, but it's not really at all.
No.
I don't know. Sports Talk Football, which is the second Joe Montana game. Cheers to Joe. I love you, buddy. He gets an 8 from Steve. Well, the Madden series has always been my favorite football games. See, that's not me. That's the type. While the Madden series has always been my favorite football games, Sega is making some strides in the right direction with this hot soft. The gloss is heaped on in the second sequel, with many new features being joined by the official NFL licensees. The play control still comes up short, however, although it's an improvement. Okay, so this is the third Montana. Okay. Got it.
Sushi's coming out a bit hot. The best thing about Sports Talk Football is that Madden 93 will be that much better. Sorry, Sega. But as impressive as Sports Talk Football is, it needs more clarity and control to size up to the rock-solid feel of the Madden titles. With a few adjustments, these two series of football games will be neck and neck.
All right. But
7.
that's not what happened. Madden destroyed everybody, so moving on.
Yeah.
We got LHX Attack Chopper by Electronic Arts for the Genesis. Jesus.
I remember
what is
playing
this?
I rented this.
Really? I don't remember this one at all.
Be glad.
Here, cut through it. I'm going to hijack the stream. Here, get this on your big TV. I don't know, you can see one of them, but they're both sleeping there. I can't move the chair anymore. Here, can you see them?
Yeah. They're both chilling.
Look at my old chair. Look at this. Look at this. Look at the vinyl's all worn. These are all worn off. Look at this thing.
Didn't you get a new chair?
I did. I did. But I got a pretty severe injury from it.
Oh?
Yeah, that's been like 2 weeks now, so I've had to switch back to the old one. Yeah, that red one I got. We'll just leave it at that.
Okay.
They're sleeping. Yeah, they're having a good time. I can't believe it, guys. They're really quiet right now. They're good. An hour and 12 minutes into the stream, they're doing good.
Yeah.
So LHX suffers from the same ailments that plague carts that try to reproduce arcade-quality polygon graphics. The overall environment is sparsely drawn. The action is painfully slow, even in the heat of battle, and the goals are repetitive. It does deserve credit for being the best polygon game so far, but it still left me unimpressed.
I could say the same thing about it when I played it. Okay. LHX Attack Copter is pretty stable for a polygon flying simulator. The graphics break up a little around the edges sometimes, but overall, it's a good shooter with plenty of targets. Even the challenge is fairly... Jeez. I gotta zoom in on this thing. Even the challenge
is fairly
fairly consistent, increasing steadily right up to the final stages. Look for possible sequels to this one with cleaner graphics. I think this was the only one, and I know why.
No, this chair is old, man. This chair is from 2019. See you, Willie. See you tomorrow, buddy.
Hey,
Text
Willie.
me. It's from 2019, I think. Yeah, it's super old. So, yeah, I did get that red one last year, but it's super uncomfortable. And I didn't realize what it was doing until the damage was kind of there. So I've had to switch back. So, yeah. I don't know. I like old blue. It's not broken. It just doesn't look the prettiest, but that's okay. You don't really see it much. till I point it out. Air Zonk, here you go, Cutthroat Comics. Air Zonk by Hudson and Turbo Technologies Incorporated for the Turbo Duo. 7 from Steve. Disagree. Air Zonk is, I would give it a 9 for sure, but that's fine. While this game tries to buy some faith on the Bonk franchise, it really doesn't need to, nor should it. This game is totally original and a worthwhile investment. Using some of the dandiest graphics to show up on the Turbo in some time, Zonk delivers a fast-paced blast out with the title character oozing with personality. Good job.
Yeah, I would rank Air Zonk higher as well.
It's in my top 5 Turbo games. 100%. It's an incredible shooter. I know we're just talking, but I'm not a huge fan of side-scrolling shooters. But because the characters kind of have like that Mega Man look to them, you don't really feel like you're playing a shooter, but it's excellent.
I always enjoyed it. Okay, what can I say? Air Zonk is really hard-hitting fun with awesome colors and sounds. The enemies are just as entertaining as the main character himself, and wait until you see the last boss. Wow. The TurboGrafx 16 is really beginning to make a turnaround. I can't wait for more Zonk titles in the future.
Yeah, and I don't think we ever got one. We got a Super Bonk. We got Bonk 3. Matt, yeah, it's you know probably what the problem is. Yeah, if you want to send me that link, I would appreciate that. We can add to this. We can build on this one. It'll be the legacy of Old Blue. We'll keep Old Blue going.
Oh boy. And Raj just found your first graded video game video. He's like, I'm going to check it out now. Be back in 5.
Yeah, that's the very rare. I don't even know what it's called. It's a Resident Evil game, but what's it called? That was the Call of Duty Resident Evil. Yeah. Anyway.
Is that Umbrella Corp?
No, I gotta get it now. Oh yeah, it is. Yeah. Umbrella Corp. Yeah, I always forget the name of this one. Yeah, this one. Yeah, this is we never got a physical copy of this in North America. So I was just looking for the physical copy of Umbrella Corp. And I found this graded one on eBay. So it was my first graded game, but I was searching for this physical copy that had Resident Evil. Most of them have Biohazard. So I wanted the one that said Resident Evil. So, and then I kind of got hooked on like... those kind of games, right? So,
yeah.
Oh, what are we doing here? There we go. Umbrella Corps. I've streamed that too. It's not as bad as everyone says. I didn't mind it. Okay, we're at Arizona. Gates of Thunder again by Hudson. See, look, we're 5 years into the TurboGrafx. Well, the 5-year lifespan of the TurboGrafx. We're in year 3, year 4, year 3, and Hudson is still doing all the work. So it's not that the TurboGrafx was a bad system. It's that when you're the sole developer for your own console, you can only get so far.
Yeah.
Anyway, what's up, Crow? How you doing? Good morning.
Hey, Crow. It's time to wake up.
Umbrella Corps, named Mary Poppins Paratrooper Squad. Yeah, well, it's Call of Duty Resident Evil is basically what it is. Gate of Thunder marks a milestone for the Turbo. This is the first disc game that is all-out fun from start to finish. Despite a lack of difficulty, the action, graphics, and music of this title are top-notch all the way. The game has been... What?
Deftly orchestrated.
I've never heard that word in my life. Interesting. Deftly orchestrated and gives shooter fans new reason to look into the Turbo CD. Except they didn't, unfortunately.
Yeah. Now, this is a shooter to watch for. It really has what it takes to bring home all of the flash and fire of a full blown arcade machine. Superb graphics highlight every scene with high detail screaming colors. And great sound. Large bosses up the ante with intense battle sequences guaranteed to please.
Gates of Thunder, Arizonk. We're on to Lemmings for the Game Gear by Sega. Oh, you good? You good? Okay. Gets a 5. I've had enough of these little guys already. All I have to say for their Game Gear appearance is good job. You've managed to duplicate a puzzle game that I never really had a fondness for almost perfectly. Fewer levels and toned down visuals don't help my earlier opinions of the game. Not for me.
Ooh. Is there a wrong way to cook a lemming? This lovely recipe is just what the doctor ordered for long family trips. Just don't forget the car adapter. Of course, there's nothing cute about condemning an entire race of lemmings to their final death, but saving them is a challenge worth gearing up for.
Yeah, did you ever like Lemmings, man? It was never my thing.
I played it a few times over at a friend's place, but it wasn't really my thing.
Yeah. No, not my thing at all. We're moving on to Joe and Mac, ported over to the Game Boy. Steve likes it, gives it an 8. I like this game a lot. The detail and the graphics, oh boy. Both the character and animations and background scenery is first class all the way. The action is transferred from the earlier versions with a high attention to quality. The game is difficult to play whenever the action clips along rapidly, but it still doesn't overshadow the great game. And hence the fatal flaw of the Game Boy, the screen blur. Right? Yeah, right.
Yeah, I never really got into the Joe and Mac series too much. I played it a few times, but I knew a guy that was basically speed running it back in the day on his NES.
They were pretty good. The one on the Super Nintendo is really great, for sure.
Okay, cute game, cute graphics, cute sounds, ancient system. Oh, well, 3 out of 4 isn't too bad. The constant blurring, typical, really destroys what should be considered excellent graphics and detail. The game itself is masterful considering the limitations, but no gamer should have to beg for glasses this way.
Yeah, Sushi X, as we know, he freaking hates
Boy.
the Game Boy, man. Big time. NFL, it's just simply called NFL Football for the Lynx by Atari. Whew. 4. Oh boy, is it almost time to go? All right, Dan, I'm going to get you to. You can read Steve and Sushi X if you don't mind. I'm going to take these guys out of the room. I'll be right back in 2 seconds.
Not a problem. Okay, Steve up first, of course. Mo! Good morning, Mo. I was not impressed with this game at all. The concept of a simple video football game has been cluttered with a lack of focus and poor implementation of what could have been cool effects like the isolation scaling. The control is poor and brings down the whole game. An NFL license does not a game make. Okay, Sushi. Ouch. What could have been a 7 or 8 barely scores a field goal. The choppy graphics really make this intense game hard to follow. If the graphics can be smoothed out and the animations refined, we might see a really jammin' sequel on the horizon. Until then, I'll wait for baseball season.
Yeah, I take it they didn't like it.
Yeah.
4 and a 6, yeah.
Yeah, Steve basically said an NFL license does not a game make.
That's fair.
Yeah.
We got releases for the month of November. So here, I'm going to go to the NES here because I want to check out all these. So I'm pretty sure we're going to look at all these, and these are all going to be worth money.
Oh, yeah.
So we got Felix the Cat, yes. Adventure Island 3, yes. Lethal Weapon, yes. Cool World, yes. Jetsons, yep. Rocky and Bullwinkle, yep. All of those are higher priced NES games simply because they didn't sell that great.
Yeah.
There you go. Good morning, Mo. Good to see you.
Yeah. Though I know those late production games are always worth a bit of money.
Raj, thanks for leaving the like on the video.
Yeah. And I actually saw one guy talking about his top 10 NES games, and number 10 was Little Samson.
Mm.
And he was talking about how it's rare because of low production numbers and everything.
10,000 were made.
Yeah.
But it's got Akira Kitamura made it, who's father of Mega Man. So as soon as you play it, which kind of sparked me doing the history of Little Samson, because the rarity of it has always been intriguing to me, but why it's so good and nobody plays it.
Yeah.
So I get it now, because it's basically like a Mega Man game, right? It's like, yeah. Inafune, who made Mighty Number 9, it's the same, the other half of the Mega Man fatherhood, right?
Oh, Solo 3PO has subscribed. Thank you for the sub.
Appreciate that, buddy. Where are we here? Top 10s.
I remember playing the Terminator for NES. Boy, that game was harsh.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. We're going to skip through the top 10s. We got a lot of pages to cover here.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Quarterman. No.
Oh, no. Quarterman.
Oh, God.
I wonder how far off the rails Quarterman's going to go this month.
Step right up to the new Quarterman column that gives you all the great taste you'd expect from a gossip column without any of the calories. The Q-Man has scoped out some great gaming goodies for you this month, kiddies, including Bofo news. What the hell is that?
Bofo.
Bofo, what is that?
It means big news. It was a 1950s and 40s term.
Oh my God. Of all the new consoles for the hardware heads out there, without further delay, let's open this Oreo wide open. Hold your breath if you want to turn blue, but not if you expect to be playing CD games for your Super NES anytime soon. The Big N has nixed their plans to belly up against Sega's impending machine, privately indicating that they don't see CD games being that different from regular carts. While this isn't a bad call in the Quarterman's eyes, Nintendo is keeping their hands wet with development of a 32-bit CD-ROM complete with slick custom chip set that they say could be ready by August of 1993. Sega gets its head start again, but with the enhancements Nintendo is promising for their CD design, they might be the mighty mega power of gaming quickly taking over Sonic's home turf, but only if the unit proves to be more than smoke. Holy cow, it's like Shakespeare, man. Not really, though.
Not really, but it's like the Shakespeare of gaming.
What's up, Bowler? How you doing? How did Mega Man treat you, buddy? Good to see you.
Well, last time I checked in on his stream, he was up to 5 deaths.
I see.
Yeah.
And while I have everybody here, if you have notifications turned off for my YouTube channel, I did drop a new history video on Friday, so I encourage you guys to check it out. Please leave a comment on the video, as it helps the algorithm. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, that's fine. Just let me know in the comments of the video. It is the history of Sonic the Hedgehog 1 on the Sega Genesis. So please make sure you guys check it out and give me some feedback. All right, you're up next. I tag you in, Dan. Good luck.
All right. Replacing Nintendo's next super system is a super chip. The Terminators of Nintendo have developed proprietary code that enables the Super NES to display higher quality 3D softs without the need for a hardware extension. The Super FX chip gives the Nintendo 16-bitter the power to deliver shaded polygon images through RISC-based technology. To quote hackers, RISC is good.
Right.
Expect the first title to use the innovative ROMs to hit in February, with a slew of third-party products to follow. The Q-Man's been sporting wood over the new DSP chip that enhances the processing speed.
You had to write that in a magazine. Oh, God.
That enhances the processing speed of the Super NES. But now I hear that the games that utilize the Zippy SATA chips could cost over $100. Timber.
Interesting. Zeroed in, the developer of the Secret Atari project, the Quarterman Machine. I'm just skimming through here.
Yeah.
We got a lot to get through. We're gonna skip. We're gonna skip through this. Oh, thanks, Jock. Appreciate that, dude. There's that stick that I wish I still had. The Street Fighter stick. This thing is amazing.
Oh yeah.
We're going through the Super FX chip, which we see in Star Fox, I believe, is the first game to have this.
Yeah, it was.
Which allowed semi-smooth for the time polygons. Star Fox was great. It was a great game with some great characters.
Yeah, I love Star Fox. It was great.
Genesis and NES get modem gaming. Well, will you look at that? What the hell is a modem, guys? All right, Jacques. Cheers, brother.
Have a good dinner.
What is a modem? One of the first peripherals originally unveiled for the Sega 16-bit Genesis was the Telegenesis modem. This revolutionary device was touched as the next generation of video games at the time, when NEC was countering their Genesis with their own CD-ROM add-on for the TurboGrafx 16. Ultimately, the Turbo upgrade failed to meet the widespread acceptance, and the Sega modem, once it became evident that the threat from NEC was hollow, never saw the light of day in the States.
Yeah.
Interesting. So here we go. Here's a device that we can actually play. Now, the problem with this back then is because nobody knew what the hell it did. You could play with people over the phone lines. What does that even mean? Yeah. And this was the problem that my friends and I all faced. So when the Telegenesis modem was a thing, we didn't care. We played side by side anyway, right? Most games were 1 to 2 players side by side.
Yeah.
This just kind of seemed really unnecessary to me, and I never had any interest in this kind of thing. But that's me. Me.
And also the system ran at 2400 baud. That's pretty slow.
Yeah. Very slow. So there you go.
I mean, it would have been cool, but just not something my friends and I would have been interested in.
No. We got some arcade games here. Final Lap 3, Bucky O'Hare by Konami, which was a reskin Turtles, which is not a bad thing. Those games were all great. Final Lap, look at those 4 chairs side by side, man. If I had the room, I would take the Star Wars Episode 1 pod race that they made, I think in the 2000s, and just have those side by side. Or Daytona would be cool.
Yeah. But look at the dual screen Galaxian. Just up above.
Oh, there. Yeah. Galaxian 3, yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff. All right, Zero. Check you later, buddy.
Have fun, Zero.
Oh, there's a great ad. Look at that. He sticks his tongue out. He gets serious hang time, and he's only 4 inches tall. I love it. Friggin' love it. I want to get some of these ads like printed out and frame them.
Oh yeah, some of these are amazing.
How did Star Wars beat Mario Kart? That's what I was saying, dude. I have no idea. The Game Doctor, I feel bad for the Game Doctor. I don't know, dude. This might be a 2-parter, because I'll tell you why, chat. I don't want to just needlessly skip over all these sections, and I feel like we're doing that because the magazines are so thick. So I think we might do a two-parter with this one. We'll keep going.
Yeah.
But I think there's important information and articles that we're just kind of skimming over because time. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Yeah, because I mean, this is a serious read.
yeah, there's lots of good stuff here.
Yeah.
Lots of good stuff here. So the game doctor, what is the problem here? I recently found a picture in a magazine of Red Bison versus the Blue Chun-Li on Zangief stage in Street Fighter 2. Underneath it, said from the streets of Super Nintendo. What? Now I really want to know if there's a code to make Street Fighter 2 into Champion Edition. Of course, right after I saw the picture, I started to make calls. I hesitated to call Capcom because last time I called them, they told me there was no codes at all in Street Fighter 2. I was really mad when I found out about the player versus player code. So if you can, Game Doctor, find a code to make Champion Edition. If there isn't a code, clear up. Like, come on, man. You can't just, like, have a code to put, like, 4 programmable, playable characters into a game. Like, I know everyone was Street Fighter crazy, and we all wanted to play a Champion Edition at home. Come on.
But yeah, and I mean, let's face it. I think everybody here knew like the Turbo Edition code.
Yeah. I remember.
I don't remember the exact code, but I know it existed.
I remember that code for sure. Yeah, but I don't. There was supposedly back in the day some kind of like Game Genie code that you could use that would allow you to like kind of manipulate the bosses, so you could kind of play like the 4 bosses, but not really use any of their moves. Again, this is just a foggy memory thing you have going, so I don't remember if that's actuality or not. But I don't know.
Oh God, Packers.
I installed pipe cleaners around my Etch-a-Sketch as a signal boost for my friend's Speak and Spell. Some epic Saturday morning gaming battles. That's great. That's great. Hope you weren't a screen looker back then, buddy. Once a screen looker, always a screen looker. Right?
Yeah. Okay, well, I'm sure you've already read in EGM about the secret code available in Street Fighter 2. But first, let's discuss the differences between Street Fighter 2 and the Champion Edition. In the Champion Edition, 2 things are now possible. Players can operate bosses, and 2 players can both choose the same fighter. There is a code which allows the existing Super NES version of Street Fighter 2 to access the mode in which both gamers can use the same fighter. But so far as the doc knows, no code has been uncovered which allows players to become bosses. EGM will be the first to show you if one pops up.
There you go. So there is no code, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to have to wait till Champion Edition comes out on Genesis. You like the Wilhelm scream? You found it, Raj? Okay. I don't know if I'm going to put that on the board. That was more of a joke. I don't know if I can use that or not. I don't see why not. I used my Stream Deck's not hooked up to this. I use Toasty all the time for Mortal Kombat, but International Outlook, Rushing Beat 2. I don't remember this game at all. There was so many of these fighters, man, back in the day. Like, you know, when space shooters were popular, and then we got like a million different clones of those.
Yeah.
I feel like as soon as like Final Fight, Streets of Rage, all those took off, Street Fighter, then we started to get like all these clones. But I don't know if Rushing Beat ever came here or not.
I don't know.
Dragon Quest V. Very cool. Time Gal. I don't know what that is.
Don't remember this one.
Wake Up. I don't know that one. The Scream. I haven't watched Commando since I was a kid, and I really feel like I need to rewatch that. I'll have to look into that for sure. Prince of Persia.
That was the
Alfaria,
very
Flying Hero.
Prince of Persia was the very first game that Tommy Tallarico did music design.
Did he really? That's cool.
Yeah, yeah, I remember him doing a video about it.
Yeah, I still watch Victor Lucas from
Yeah,
EP. I
and
still watch him. He streams once in a while. I still watch his videos. He
yeah,
does like classic EP episodes too, where he'll go live and he'll play just like classic ones, which is really cool.
yeah. I always loved that show.
Oh, cool, Matt. That sounds cool. Yeah, Vic's great. I met him and Scott. I don't know if you guys remember Scott. I think like
Yeah,
2012, they're at Fan Expo. I met them. Yeah, they're cool dudes, man, for sure. They reviewed Nintendo Quest. I still have the review.
awesome.
Yeah, it was him and I can't remember her name. It was Scott and whatever her name was. I can't remember, but they reviewed it. It got a 7 out of 10, which I'll take that. We're just kind of zapping through this stuff. Digitize stills for Terminator. Mario Paint. Oh, that was a ton of fun. Although the Achilles heel to that was that you could only have one save file for anything, which was brutal. Brutal. Turtles 4, Turtles in Time, Street Fighter 2. Oh, is this codes? Yeah, this is codes. We always skip this section. Next wave. Here we go. Sunset Riders. Who remembers Sunset Riders by Konami?
Such a good game.
So good. It's so fun even to this day.
Yeah,
Yeah, very the side scroller shoot 'em up in the old west. Oh, so awesome.
yeah.
Great game.
This was definitely proof that Konami knew their stuff just as well as Capcom.
Here you go, Bat Stand. Here's your Dragon's Lair for Super Nintendo right here by Data
Yeah.
East. Looks like they ported it over. And yeah, I can say that I never did play this version. I just remember James Rolfe just roasting. It was either this one or the NES one, and they were just terrible. Like, you couldn't even get past the jawbridge screen. So there you go. Pretty cool. Terminator 2, the arcade game. I know a lot of you guys in the chat love this arcade game with the dual Uzis from back in the day.
Oh yeah,
Real fun shooter. Absolutely. A lot of
harder
people I
than
know.
hell.
There you go, Bat Stan. There's an ad for it right there. Yeah, I know a lot of people, if they could have, we always do that, if you could have one arcade game in your house right now, which would you pick? And I know Terminator 2 is often at the top of people's lists, which is cool. Bury me with my money, Sunset Riders. I like that. There's your Joe and Mac. Man, some of these would just be so great to have as art. I would
Just
love.
hang them on a wall in your house. Yeah,
So awesome. Some of these, not this one, but some. This one's pretty bad. This is like if I was to draw a picture, this is what it would look like. Not great. Shinobi 3. Chuck Rock.
yeah.
Lots of stuff. There's our buddy Thor. Chase HQ was a pretty cool game for Turbo. It was also an arcade game before. I remember that.
Yeah.
The Joe and Max Fire. Yeah, dude. 100%. Sega Force. So this explains why the issue is so thick,
Yeah.
if you will. We got a Sega Force inserted in the middle here, which is obviously specializing in all the Sega IPs, wedged right inside, written by the guys at EGM, but it specializes in Sega. They often get criticized for, oh, look at that. That's friggin' awesome. They often get criticized for, having favoritism, which they never did. There's our man, Tom Kalinske, right there. At the time, he was the president and CEO of Sega of America. Tom's awesome. Yeah, he did a lot. All you toy guys out there, launched Masters, helped with Barbie, all that stuff. And he is responsible for being one of the sole people that helped Sonic become so big. So there you go. Oh, well, I think it's stuff on Sega consoles, Matt. I might have misspoke. I don't mean Sega IPs that they created, but it's just stuff appearing on Sega consoles.
Yeah, he was big on signing those licensing deals.
Just huge. Vickman, how you doing, buddy? How was your holidays? Good to see. I smeared my glasses. Alien 3. Oh my god. I still haven't seen Alien 3.
Just stick with the first two.
Yeah, I'm good. There's that Sega CD that eludes me, ladies and gentlemen. I still need to get this bad boy.
The big bulky version, huh?
Yep. The version 1, but it's a lot of money. I'm just not willing to part with that money for this, but someday maybe we'll find like one that's maybe a little less cheaper. Maybe a little less expensive, I should say. Sonic 2 is on the horizon, ladies and gentlemen. That's going to be exciting.
Cybercop. I remember this game.
Yeah, Cybercop was cool.
That was a good one, yeah. That was, of course, during the RoboCop rage.
Yep. Cyber, Terminator, Predator, combination of character all mashed into one. Yeah. Oh, look at that. Beautiful artwork. For Captain America and the Avengers for the Sega Genesis, based loosely off the arcade game of the same name. Look at that art.
I would absolutely frame that and have it in my house.
That's awesome, man. That's my favorite Marvel stuff. Look how great the characters look. I don't know who the artist is. Maybe Cutthroat knows. This definitely 90s Marvel, but it's so awesome looking. There's your Buck Rogers.
Yeah.
Someone actually, you know what? I was looking for a couple games on Marketplace, Dan, and someone had a lot of Genesis games. I think it was like 10, and Buck Rogers was one of them. There you go.
Wow. Yeah, it's a very fun game for me. I don't think it'd be one that I would want to try to stream though.
Matt says, I had the Captain American Avengers game. I swear I played that card so much it wore out. And I remember, to add to that, I remember playing the Avengers game in the arcade. The Sega Spider-Man game was also awesome. Yeah, those games back in the day were cool. Quarter eaters, but they were still cool. Guys, don't forget, if you would like to support the channel, I have 3 levels of memberships. If you'd like to become a member, you can enjoy community days with us playing on stream. You can possibly join into one of the Talking Head shows like this, and you get access to our private Discord. So lots of good stuff with memberships. And hey, you're supporting me over here, so appreciate that. Slime World.
Oliver Belmont, Jay, which of the 90s console fighting games you played a lot? Final Fight or Streets of Rage?
Final Fight. 100%. I had Streets of Rage, but it didn't compare to me. I absolutely loved Final Fight. Streets of Rage is great, don't get me wrong. We've talked about this before, too. We had a pull-up, and friggin' Streets of Rage killed Final Fight. But, yeah, just saying. Moving on. Gadget Twins. Look at that box art. That's awesome, too, man. So good. What are these, like, all the games that are coming out? Like, I don't know. We're just kind of skipping through this a little bit. Just a little bit here because of time and the thickness of the issue. There's so many games here, guys. If there's any that you guys want to talk about, please feel free to shout it out. There's so many. Crackdown before Crackdown. There was Crackdown. Mm-hmm. Lycia Dragoon, I remember that. 688 Attack Sub, I remember that one. Man. Like, we really were treated to some great artistry back then. Castle Illusion with Mickey Mouse is awesome.
California Games, everybody remembers that.
Yeah. Dick Tracy was
Tracy.
great. Yeah.
Ghouls and Ghosts.
I just listened to the Nintendo 64 review from EPM. Oh, it was Marissa. Nintendo 64 review? You mean the Nintendo Quest review? Yeah, that was from 2015, I think. Wait, there's not a. Yeah, no, Marissa. That was her name. Yeah. I met her too. Yeah. No, that's okay, buddy. I was like, Victor reviewed 64? What? He's doing a lot of stuff with the Happy Console Gamer. Any Johnny Millennium fans out there? He's an awesome old school YouTuber too, man. And Vic's doing a lot of stuff with him lately. It's awesome. Yeah, I used to love Scott. Scott was, and I only say used to because I don't know what happened to him after he left EP. I had him on Facebook at one point, but yeah. Anyway, EP, long live EP.
Yeah.
Jock, you're back.
Great,
What's up?
Video game review shows.
Yeah, I never missed an EP. That was great. The old school ones with Tommy Tellerico and Victor, just awesome times.
There used to be a virtual tour of Tommy's house you could go to.
Oh yeah.
And in front of his very large screen TV, because it was one of those projection ones from back in the 90s, he had like all the consoles set up.
I would think so. Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah, Neil says I've known Vic since 2010, and I used to work with Marissa at TSN. Yeah, it was her and Scott. They give Nintendo Quest a 7 out of 10, which I was pretty happy with.
Yeah.
Pretty happy with. Very scary to have your work being reviewed by a show that you've watched since the 90s. Rob and I were terrified, but we'll take that. There were a few critiques that they gave. I can't remember now, but they were well warranted. But it was a good review. I'll take it. Kryptonite not included. Superman by Sunsoft. I don't remember this one.
Oh, I do.
Yeah? Oh, 7.5. Thanks, Bowler. Even better. They did, man. They did. Bowler said he just watched it. Yeah, I have it saved on one of my hard drives because I saved the video. Yeah, they reviewed it. Moving on. Oh, yeah. Look at that Super Star Wars map. See, this is why I love EGM. Look, they mapped out one of the first levels, which is obviously a sand crawler, but look how they pieced it together. Yeah. That's so friggin' awesome.
This is why I loved EGM back then.
Yeah, man. This is great. Like, look at that. That's just fantastic. So in Super Star Wars, there were 3 playable characters, Luke, Han, and Chewie. I'm guessing because Leia's captured for most of the film, but yeah. Great game. And Raj has got the spark of interest in my brain now with one of these old school LucasArts shooters. I just don't know which one I would put time into. I remember Indiana Jones when we played it. It was very mazy. Yeah. We got to the streets of Cairo. We didn't even get past Raiders, by the way. And you have to go through each movie in order. You can't just pick one. And we didn't get past the streets of Cairo because it was very maze-like. So maybe we'll have to revisit that. What's going on, Retro Car?
Hey, Retro. I do love the cutscenes they're showing. In this.
Yeah, the digitized graphics. Like that shot there of Obi-Wan and Luke that's pretty great, man. Like that was pretty impressive back in the day.
Got to admit, fan of the Princess Leia one.
Yeah.
And the watch post on Yavin, that looks great.
But look at this boss here, guys. So we have the chess game. I can't remember what it's called. It starts with a D. But we can see that one of the bosses in the cantina is one of the chess pieces. And then you have this. I don't know what that is. And this thing.
My brain just suddenly regurgitated the name Dejarik.
Dejarik, that's it. I knew it was something with a D, yeah. Jacques, you're a fan of Knights? Yeah, Knights is great. Another one I would love to stream, but one RPG at a time.
Yeah.
One RPG at a time for sure. Oh, look at this. Look at this. The Dark Times right here. Look at all this greatness. So we have the Timothy Zahn novels. We have the Dark Horse comics, including Dark Empire. The Star Wars RPG on the right. This is awesome. The Star Wars phenomenon. Now remember, guys, back then, there was nothing. This was it. Star Wars was flatlined as far as new content goes, apart from these novels.
And the comics awesome. and creating your own adventures in the role-playing game.
More than 15 years after its release. 15 years. Even back then, that seems forever ago.
Yeah.
The mere mention of Star Wars still stirs the imagination and appeals to all of us. Even now, stories and rumors surround the legendary motion picture, and an industry spawned by Star Wars merchandise continues to thrive. The Star Wars phenomenon boasts statistics as imposing as the Death Star. The saga has been seen by more than 700 million people and sold over 2.6 billion in consumer products and grossed over 100 million in video cassette sales. A new best-selling book series by Hugo Award winner Timothy Zahn has resurrected interest in the original film trilogy and fueled speculation that more Star Wars films may be on the way. This is fire. This article is actual fire. Like, I'm getting burnt from the screen.
Yeah.
So great. Who read the Timothy Zahn trilogy, Chad?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Now we know we're kind of getting a rehash of this story in the Dave Filoni Ahsoka. He's kind of done a version of this, or he's alluding to a version of this with his characters, which I don't like, but I'm just saying. Yeah. Den, let me ask you this. Looking back now with rose-tinted glasses, let's go back to 2014, okay? And they're going to release a new Star Wars sequel trilogy. We don't know anything about it. Would you want a brand new trilogy that you know nothing about that takes place after Return of the Jedi, or screen adaptations of the Timothy Zahn trilogy?
Honestly, I would have loved the Zahn trilogy.
Yeah. Yeah. What about you guys? What about chat? What do you think? Yeah, Neil, unfortunately, that's true.
Yeah.
The Grand Admiral Thrawn lives in Rebels. Unfortunately, yeah. Raj says, oops, that's the wrong one. Jay, is it possible to get your Nintendo Quest production on Blu-ray CD? I'll have to buy it and watch. Don't think it's in production anymore, my friend. You can watch the documentary in its entirety on Rob McCallum's channel, though. Rob is the director. So go to Rob's channel and search it. You can find it. It's about an hour and a half long.
And he's got other projects like Grayskull. Power of Grayskull.
Power of Grayskull. Yeah, lots of stuff.
Such a great documentary there.
So RetroCart says Thrawn trilogy all the way. Yeah, RetroCart, so let me add to that. It's difficult for me, right? Because the idea of something completely brand new still is really appealing to me, especially if you're going to play within the grounds of after Return of the Jedi. You have unlimited possibilities. Of course, we're saying that the 789 don't exist, right? So we're going to kind of go back here. It's hard for me to not want to see something new, but at the same time, the Zahn books, especially now with what we're getting Star Wars wise, are so great that I don't know what I would pick, man. I really don't. That's tough. That's a tough one.
It is. What I would love to see in Star Wars, and you're starting to see it a bit here and there, but I would love to see more series with absolutely no connection to like the original trilogy, no mention of Skywalker or anything like that. I want, our own character, these new characters to stand on their own.
Not gonna happen.
Yeah.
But I'm with you.
It's those member berries. They know that the original trilogy fans will always come back for the member berries.
Matt says, honestly, there are books that have Luke and Han and Leia to be age accurate to current times for the actors. Could have shifted the focus to Jason and Jaina and Anakin. I'm just trying to think. Kylo Ren is based off of one of them. Maybe a little bit of Jason, I think. There's some aspects of Kylo Ren that are kind of equivalent to that. Two of my most valuable figures, Matt, by the way, are Jason and Jaina on card from 2000 and I think 2007, 2008. My favorite time in Star Wars collecting, those 2 years, man, we got crazy good figures. Just out of left field stuff.
Yeah.
Retro Card says, I watched Skeleton Crew. It's the first Disney Star Wars that I've enjoyed. Huh.
It's the best way I can explain it. It's kind of like Treasure Island, Treasure Planet meets the Explorers movie.
I'm not gonna be stubborn, right? I'm so burnt out from it. And Retro Card, by the way, I'm not here to change anyone's mind. This is just my opinion, right? I'm just so burnt out from it that I don't even really want to even give it a try. Maybe if it was free in front of me, but I'm certainly not going to subscribe to Disney again. I can't. The butchering of the original trilogy's lore is something that is going to scar me forever. What they did with Obi-Wan and Darth Vader and deflating their meeting in A New Hope is something that I'm never going to be able to let go. And that's simply because the writers of Obi-Wan just didn't take the time nor care, nor was this stuff checked by the higher ups. Yeah. So whenever someone says, Disney Star Wars is kind of not that bad, I say, well, look what they like. You can't even say that Obi-Wan was even good accidentally. As good as Ewan was and Hayden was and all that, the fact that he's hanging out with little kid Leia destroys any kind of lore. Yeah. It's just how they can take something that George created an entire industry on and just throw it in the garbage is beyond me. But look, Jay's talking about Star Wars again.
Well, we kind of have to. The ad.
This is an article from EGM. It's awesome, man.
Yeah. I will say this: like I felt with Obi-Wan. I mean, don't get me wrong; the acting was great overall. But it felt like it took away from that scene where Obi-Wan and Darth Vader meet on the Death Star. And, Darth says, well, now I am the master.
It does exactly take away from that. It deflates the entire meeting of Anakin and Obi-Wan. If you look at Revenge of the Sith, the last time they were face to face, Anakin was being burned alive in Mustafar, and Obi-Wan basically took his saber and walked away.
Yeah.
So the next time they meet is on the Death Star, which is where all the dialogue, also wrote by George, all makes sense.
Yeah.
And now they meet behind the Home Depot, behind this warehouse. There's like these lazily done sand dunes behind this factory. And Obi-Wan all of a sudden doesn't know how to fight.
Yeah. And
Vader like hands his butt to him. And then they meet again. And we have to reuse something they already did in Rebels, which is where Vader's mask gets cracked off and you could see Anakin through it.
Yeah.
Oh, come on,
and
man.
Let's not forget, Obi-Wan not knowing Leia. And then suddenly, how do you forget that you helped save her life?
I don't know, but here we go. It's Star Wars time, ladies and gentlemen.
But I'm looking at this and they say toy figurines depicting Star Wars characters are now worth as much as $75 each.
Wait, though, does Leia say she never met Obi-Wan in A New Hope? No, they use this line where it's a throwaway line near the end, and I'm trying to remember, Neil, because it's a long time ago when I watched it, but it's like something to the effect of Obi-Wan's like, "Shh, this is our secret," or whatever. Some kind of thing like that. I don't know. It's so dumb, though, man. It's so dumb. You could have had any child fill that role, and it didn't have to be Leia. The mere fact that Alderaan royalty cannot get their child back from Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers is the worst writing I've ever seen in possibly anything. Oh my God, I'm really going off now. Like, why Bail Organa didn't send a fleet to get his daughter, but instead tasks Obi-Wan, who's been sworn to protect the only hope, the last hope for the Jedi, who's Luke Skywalker. Mm-hmm. Oh, by the way, forget about that. Forget about what Yoda said. I'm going to call Obi-Wan. Can you do me a solid? Can you go off planet and just leave Luke for a couple of weeks and, go save my daughter while I just sit here? What? It doesn't make sense. Sorry.
And I'm going to point out also, like in Leia, the message she gives to R2 is, you fought with my father during the Clone Wars. That's like her introducing herself to him.
Exactly. Thank you. Yes, Neil. So there you go. What Den just said. Yeah. So years ago, you fought with my father in the Clone Wars. Now he's begging for your help against the Empire and the Rebellion or whatever. Yeah. So that negates all that. But Obi-Wan's like, "Shh, don't tell it's our secret," or whatever, to a little girl who probably doesn't even understand what that means anyway.
Yeah.
Because Flea rocks. Oh.
Nothing
has pulled me out of Star Wars. Like if you were to have a stormtrooper take his helmet off and it would be Brad Pitt, that wouldn't be as jarring as seeing Flea. And no offense to Flea, but
yeah. And I mean, the thing I liked about the novels was each one. I'm friends with some of the people who have written novels, and they're basically given like a huge binder of lore when they were given it.
Right.
And they're like, okay, this is what you have to work with. And just so you know, before this gets published, it's going to be seen by George Lucas's people. And if there's any problems, it's going to be scrapped.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a firm believer in when somebody creates a piece of art, and we've seen this throughout the years, guys, when they give it up and someone else takes over, more often than not, what I've seen is it's never the same. And obviously Star Wars is, you don't know what's in George's head. And George, the way he looks at the Force and storytelling in general is so basic. If you watch any interview with George, the bad guys, you could tell Vader's the bad guys. They're completely colorless. They have no emotion. They're the bad guys. He has the red sword. The good guy has the blue sword. It's so basic, The dark side of the Force is you're selfish. You're afraid. You want everything for yourself. You don't care about others. That's basically the dark side. The light side is you're selfless. You care about others. It's so easy, and what it's kind of become and turned into is just it's too much.
Yeah, they're adding, I would say, too many shades of gray.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Vickman, I'm good. I'm not angry. It's actually, when I talk like this, I'm not mad. I just get excited, and I talk about it because obviously I care about Star Wars. I do. Otherwise, I wouldn't talk about it at all, right? I want it to be good again. I want Star Wars to be awesome.
Yeah,
I do, and I tried so hard to make those sequel movies make sense to me, and I tried so hard to get into them. And again, I loved Force Awakens. I still think it's pretty good.
Yeah.
But the other two, man, I think I've seen Rise of Skywalker 3 times, maybe 4,
Yeah.
right?
And yeah, and I mean, I like Neil says, Star Wars producers today don't care about us Gen Xers, and that's true to a point because Star Wars was always made for kids. Lucas has said this numerous times that it's always targeted at kids.
And I can understand that they don't care about Gen Xers, Neil. I get that. I get it's not for us anymore, but you can't destroy the foundation of the world in which George created. Otherwise, it's not Star Wars anymore.
Yeah.
And that's what they're doing. The writer from Obi-Wan admitted to not even watching the prequels. How are you qualified to write a story when all these authors here worked painstakingly to make sure that they stayed in line with George's vision? They did. If you go back to these novels, man, like they reference other events from other books and everything is more or less in line. Your writer for Obi-Wan can't even be bothered to watch the prequel movie 6 hours to get any kind of lore or who Anakin was or why he did what he did. So that's where you end up with the mess you're in now.
Yeah. And that's one thing I loved was the books referenced each other.
Yeah.
So if you hadn't read a book and it's like, oh, well, this happened, it's like, oh, I'm going to have to check that out.
Jacques says it's a cash cow now. It was always a cash cow.
Yeah.
It was part of the payment Mark, Carey, and Harrison received was a percentage of merchandise that was put into their contract, which is why, a lot of them didn't have to work so much after. Because, I'm sure Mark's still getting checks for Colgate toothpaste. Do you know what I mean? My point is, it was always a cash cow, but it was done differently. It felt different. It didn't feel to me like it does now, where it's so cheaply done. When George was in control, sure, it was on everything, but it felt right to me. I don't know. Does that make sense, Chad? Am I making any sense here?
Yeah, and like Cutthroat said, didn't George have some control of these Star Wars novels back in the day?
Yes.
He had total control.
Yep. He always said, you can license out my characters, but
he gets
the day I want to write about one of these characters, I have full reign to change it, hence Boba Fett.
Yeah.
Boba Fett was completely different in the novels. His backstory was completely different to what he was in the prequels, right?
Yeah. And Jacques, which movie series is the ultimate cash cow? I would say original trilogy. Because that will get us all going back over and over again.
We talked about this on Chad's channel last week, where what toy line has consistently, we're talking about the most popular toy line of all time, and we looked it up and someone had said Joe, but I was like, no, Star Wars, man. It was only out of the toy stores for 10 years, from 85 to 95. Star Wars has consistently been in toy stores since 1995. That's crazy. From an OG movie from 1977. Not even Star Trek has that kind of power. It's insane to have a toy line that's consistently successful.
Mm-hmm. And
it's
not only
unheard
that,
of.
But with the Power of the Force series later on, you got those really deep cut characters that were on the screen for maybe 5-10 seconds, and they got their own action figures.
Yeah, which I thought was cool. RetroCards is fully on board with what you're saying. It used to be creative writing from the authors, but now it's just lazy writing. Yeah, or safe writing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't blame the writers for that at all, because they're given direction by editors and by the company that owns it.
Dial-up, was that the lizards, right? That couldn't be affected by the Force? Yeah, because Thrawn would wear one around his neck. Yeah, okay, I remember that now.
Yeah, but
I didn't like Zyzer, although I think he was. I didn't like the whole Shadows of the Empire. I liked Dash Rendar and all that stuff, but I didn't
Yeah.
like Xyzer. He was always really weird to me, and his like seduction of Leia and all that. I was kind of
Yeah.
like, nah. The fact that they shoehorned it in between Empire and Jedi too is just kind of like,
Yeah. And I remember when these books would come out, when the novels would come out, I was on a call list at my local bookstore. And they would say, "Hey, we put one aside for you." And I'd be like, "Okay, I'll be up later today or like tomorrow morning."
Yeah, we've turned this into a Star Wars stream, and in my opinion, these are my favorite streams. I hope you guys are enjoying it. When we find something that opens up the chat like this, that's what really my goal is for these. So,
Yeah.
Shizor, it's pronounced Shizor actually. Oh, I say Zizor. Well, fine, you're right. I'm wrong. You sold your Ray figures. What did you get for that? I think the only one that's worth money is the Rise of Skywalker Ray. That one's actually worth quite a bit.
Yeah.
Anything Rise of Skywalker is worth a lot because famously they didn't have a toy line for Rise of Skywalker. Another brilliant move by Disney.
Yeah.
But there you go.
No, I mean, I love how we call this the dark times, but we were getting really good content around this time for Star Wars with the comics, and video games were starting to come out, And
Yeah,
yes,
like
we didn't get new movies, but we got content in other ways.
Like the Dark Empire was cool. I loved how, I mean, again, I can't help but to think or know that JJ, took the Dark Empire story and basically went, oh yeah, okay, well, Palpatine is a clone. That was in Dark Empire, man.
Yeah.
And how Luke actually had to become one with the dark side to understand it and master it. Like, that was so cool to me. But it didn't take everything that happened in the original trilogy and make it worthless. My problem with the new stories is, let's look at the Book of Boba Fett, for instance. Who here still likes Boba Fett? Be honest with yourselves.
Yeah.
Because I don't look at him the same.
I don't.
Why did Boba Fett want Jabba the Hutt's palace? For no other reason, my friends, than we know Jabba's palace. And we'd be like, oh, I remember that. Pretty cool. But it doesn't make any sense. Anyway.
But, Dan asked if you've ever played Shadows of the Empire on your channel.
No.
Thank you.
No. I recently played it. It's... Unless there's like an upscaled version, that game's pretty tough, man. It's the frame rate's really bad, and I'm not slamming the 64. I'm just saying, like, it's bad. So if there's I don't know if anyone's ever done an HD version or if the PC version is different or not, but I'd be up for it. Yeah, I would love to like revisit that whole time. Remember, we got a soundtrack for Shadows of the Empire novel. We got a CD soundtrack. Like, it was just cool.
Yeah.
Right? It was cool.
Jacques, I agree. Cal Kestis is one of my favorite characters right now, to be honest. He's 2 games, really cool. And Mo, still like Boba Fett. It's cool that you're working on a model kit. But I watched the show and I still like Boba Fett, but I don't look at him the same way as I did before I watched that.
I think, other than the lore crushing that Obi-Wan did, I think Boba Fett is the worst. I'm not even kidding. I'd rather watch the holiday special. Like, that Boba Fett show is just, it's so awful. It's so awful, and it makes no sense. And yeah, anyway, this is where we're going to continue the EGM stream, okay? Just so everybody knows for next week. But we'll keep talking here about this because I think it's a good conversation for sure.
Yeah.
Still like Boba. The show sucked, hijacked by Mando and Grogu. Yeah, because they didn't have faith in it.
Yeah, I agree though that. And then he had that gang of swoop bikes which drove mopeds, basically.
Listen, for me, like, the Gen Xers, the OG Star Wars fans, okay, wielding a lightsaber was a big deal.
Yeah.
It was something that most people, if you ever saw this legendary weapon that's extinct, most people wouldn't even pick it up because you're going to cut your own hand off pretty easily, right?
Yeah.
The fact that in the Obi-Wan show, there's no consequence to lightsabers anymore. Just think about that, chat. Think about the fact that Reba got stabbed. She's fine. The Inquisitor got stabbed. He's fine. There's no consequence to lightsabers anymore. And nobody loses limbs because it's Disney. So it's just like, who's got, like, realistically, and I'm not talking about Darth Maul and Qui-Gon because that was a move from Maul, but I'm talking about realistically, who's going to go at somebody like this with a lightsaber? Who's going to stab forward? You're just going to do this and cut them in half. Why would you stab somebody?
Yeah.
Right? Like, so that, I think, out of all of this, is the worst, is that they made lightsabers not scary anymore.
Yeah.
Right?
And,
like,
I mean, the other thing is, of course, like, again, I'm going to go back to A New Hope, where most people rely on blasters. Like, you know, it's like Han Solo says, you know, hokey religions and ancient weapons ain't going to win you a blaster fight, kid.
yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's, I mean, you think Qui-Gon was done dirty?
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, I got, you know, I'm not going to slam the Reva character, but yeah, when you saw the Qui-Gon fight and a seasoned master gets taken down by an apprentice and he gets stabbed, but Reva lives? You're telling me Reva was more powerful in the Force than Qui-Gon Jinn? No, but the writers don't care. The writers don't care.
No, because as long as they can get toy lines, comic book lines, and subscriptions to Disney Plus, they've met their criteria.
Yeah, it's crazy that you don't really need any kind of resume to write a Star Wars story. You have to be able to write, which I get, but as far as knowing the lore, it doesn't matter. Just make it up. Make it up. I don't know. I want to see better from my favorite series, but I've learned to have to let it go, which is, you know, you guys talk about Skeleton Crew and how good it is. I didn't watch Ahsoka. There was another one that came out I didn't watch.
Andor?
I watched a few of the episodes of Andor, and everyone's, oh, you gotta. No, I don't have to watch it. I don't want to watch it. I've just kind of given up, you know.
Yeah. And, you know, there's, you know, and we all have our things and our break points with certain things.
Oh, Sabine got stabbed too, Neil?
Oh, yeah.
And she's okay.
Yeah. She got stabbed through the heart.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, and let's make Sabine a Jedi, too, for no other reason than because we need a Jedi. Come on, man.
Yeah.
So Dial Up says, so funny how we're all so passionate about this, and it's the mythology it's rooted in. Well, it's because for the longest time, I mean, Star Wars has flaws, but for the longest time, those 3 movies were perfect. There would be sci-fi movies that would come out, and it's just not even close to Star Wars, and it was so perfect. So it's got a lot to live up to, right? So it's hard to see something that we love so much be taken apart slowly and painfully, piece by piece over the years. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because, like, again, that dark time era, that 20 years before the prequels, or, yeah, about 20 years before the prequels, you know, the lore was meticulously built.
Well, I mean, when George isn't at the helm anymore, you know, like him or not, it's his stories. And when he's not writing the stories anymore, there you go.
But I mean, overall, yeah. And I mean, I enjoy some of the Star Wars stuff. I still go back and I still read what they call the Legends Star Wars novels, because those are the ones I remember so well. And honestly, just based upon what I've seen of the current Star Wars novels, I'm like, no, I'm going to go back to the good Star Wars.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, right? We always forget that we do have the old school stuff, or whatever is your favorite. You know, I know a lot of people that grew up in the prequels, and that's their Star Wars. But I still think that feels like Star Wars to me.
Yeah.
It does, and I think Force Awakens set up something really well, where there was a lot of the same beats, but you could see where it was going to go off, and then the whole two director things that didn't talk to each other, and now you have a mess and a teardown and a rebuild.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
But
And I agree with what Retro Cart Collector said. I've decided to pick and choose what my Star Wars consists of now.
sure,
Same.
I think that's a great way to look at it.
Yeah.
I think that's a great way to look at it, and I'm with you guys. I hold out hope. I don't like bashing things needlessly. I think my criticisms are justified, but at the end of the day, you vote with your dollars, right? If you don't want to watch it, you don't subscribe to the channel, to Disney Plus or whatever. And I stopped mine because as soon as I let go of that need to feel like, well, I'm a big Star Wars fan, so I have to watch these, but you don't. You don't.
Yeah.
You know?
Like, I did the same thing with Hasbro. Once their action figures hit a certain price mark, I'm like, you know what? I can't keep buying this stuff.
Exactly.
And, I mean, I still love it. I see figures. I'm like, I would love to buy that, but that price tag is way outside my comfort zone now.
I would like everyone to give a round of applause for Den of Geek for jumping in and helping out with the EGM read today. Thank you, Den.
Always happy to help out. And we had a great conversation.
Gonna pop you out here, buddy. Thank you for hanging. And I'm sure we'll see you on the next community day. We're gonna do Fortnite next week, I think, so that'll be fun.
I might pop in for that. I haven't played in a while, but
sounds good. Everyone say goodbye to Den. See you, buddy.
One Legends.
Well, that's Den. That's the wrong button. There we go. Den of Geek, what a guy. Awesome dude. Yeah, I just want to get to a few more comments here. And let's see what we got here. Dial Up says the original trilogy was a group effort. George had the foundation, one core vision, but he had a lot of help. He did. And his wife was really helpful, in particular with the editing of that first movie, right? Like her edit saved that movie. So I don't know. And guys, I'm not poo-pooing on people's parade. I will never slam somebody for loving something that gives you joy. That's not what this is about. This does come from a place of passion. It does come from a place of I want better for all of us. And I know they can do better. These writers have to be given the ability to create new things that don't revolve around the Skywalkers. And until then, I don't know. So that EGM read kind of spiraled. Yeah, I agree about it, Stan. It's not the same. And I'm fine that it changes course, but you can't destroy the lore that's come before it unless you're just going to do a whole, God forbid, multiverse thing, or you're going to just do a complete reboot, and let's hope that doesn't happen either. Do you know what I mean, though? And I just think it's such a big galaxy, and there's so many amazing characters and so many stories that can be told, but they still all revolve around the Skywalker family for the most part. And I think it'll get a lot more interesting when we go away from all that stuff. And that's us as fans too. We have to embrace that. Do you know what I mean? So like Den was saying, like if there was a show about like someone who ran a bar on Mos Eisley, I think that would be pretty cool. But I think us as fans will have to be like, well, there's no Darth Vader in that, so I don't know if I'm going to watch it. Do you know what I mean? Like we have to kind of allow the change to come in. So maybe on that note, maybe I should check out Skeleton Crew then. Matt says they could do different time periods in the Star Wars universe. Knights of the Old Republic It's heralded as one of the greatest Star Wars stories, and that's set 4,000 years before the movies. And you could totally, I agree. And you could totally play around with that. You know what I mean? 4,000 years is a lot better time to play around with than the 30 years in between Jedi and Force Awakens. That's a lot of time. Excuse me, guys. Eats away at the EGM reads. To be fair, we're gonna probably call it anyway because it's the issues are getting pretty thick. Yeah. How about a Cal Kestis movie with no Skywalker in it? Nah, maybe that might work. It might work. I want more Clone Troopers to continue. Love the cartoon, The Bad Batch. See, there you go. There you go. Star Wars Cheers show would be good, right? If B. Arthur was still around, you know how she was the nighttime bartender at the cantina, as we know from the holiday special. I think that would be cool. B. Arthur and all the aliens and the different species are coming in and talking to B about their problems. Oh man, damn spice traders today. We had to drop another shipment, and she just sits there and listens, and she's like, "Oh, I know what you mean. How about another whatever juice, blue milk?" Vickman says, I love Star Wars, and for me, it's fun to watch new stuff, but honestly, I've always made my own Star Wars since I was a kid. Love the comics, too. Yeah, and we did. We played around with the toys, right? They're extensions of our imagination, avatars that we could use to create our own stories. I'm with you on that. When I played Star Wars, and this is a fact, my friends, when I played with the 375 figures, I never recreated Empire or Jedi. I always made my own stories. They might have been little side quests from Empire or Jedi, but I never tried to recreate the movies. That's what was great about us being kids and playing with the toys, right? Is that we're writing our own stories ourselves. Alien version of Norm every episode, yeah. I would like that. I think that would be fun. There is so much they can do. They just have to be allowed to do it. But also us as consumers of this, we have to allow it to happen. Do you know what I mean? We have to let go of that safety net. We have to let it go. There's no Darth Vader in this. That's okay. There's no Ahsoka. There's no Luke. That's okay. We have to allow the new stuff to come in. If I hear one more Star Wars show that comes out that's pretty good, I might sub again to Disney Plus, because you guys are saying Skeleton Crew's pretty good. So that's good sign. And from what I understand, that doesn't really have anything to do with the OG trilogy, correct? So if we get that, maybe if we get one more Star Wars on top of that, then I'll resub, because I'm not closing the door on it forever, but I just want better. Yeah, exactly. Yep. That was a good show, guys. That was fun. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you had a nice chill Sunday. You get the rest of the day to sit back, relax, play video games, watch football, Packers. Do whatever you guys are going to do. But thank you for hanging out with me on a Sunday. I'll be back next week, and my schedule will be up either tonight or tomorrow. Tomorrow, Will and I are game hunting. We may or may not stream from the road, but we're definitely game hunting tomorrow. We're back at it in our hometown here, so I can't wait to show you guys a piece of that and let you know what kind of gems we find or do not find that are on our list. All right, my friends, you have yourselves a great day, okay? Go have some fun, and we will see you bright and early. Let's see. I'm not too sure if we're doing Wednesday or Thursday. I'll have to decide. But on the front page of my YouTube channel, you can always check out my schedule and find out what games and what events we're doing throughout the week. And please, don't forget to check out my History of Sonic the Hedgehog video. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. All right? You guys are the best. Enjoy your Sunday. Cheers, friends.